Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live. Today I'll be looking into this render engine called Octane X from company called Otoy. The company has been around for a while, few years now, maybe almost 10 years. But they just launched this Octane X on the Mac App Store. Since I have MacBook Pro here to try, so I will give it a try. And I got a free license for a month, free trial license. But I think for a full pro customer, you can get around 40 euro per month if you want to use this Octane X. So this Octane X is running on the Mac, and on my MacBook Pro is actually using my GPU, AMD Radeon Pro 555. All right, so not the most powerful GPU, but at least it works. With Blender, I can run Eevee and Cycles, and the renderer is free. I can get like a nice subsurface scattering and glow, and I can use Cycles, which also using GPU. The GPU doesn't seem to work on my computer, but anyhow, yeah, I want to do a bit of comparison. So this is Suzanne. I generate everything. This is the hair is actually generated using geometry nodes, and so this Suzanne only have 3 different materials for 3 different parts of Suzanne, and I simply export it out as FBX, and I'm gonna show you a demo how this works inside Octane X. So let's quickly drag and drop this FBX. So suddenly we have these nodes to work with. All right, we have a camera and geometry. Okay, interesting. We don't have anything here on the render yet. If I right click here and create render target, we have another nodes, and I'm gonna just connect these guys, like for example the geometry. So now we have Suzanne head over here with 3 different materials, and it's using my GPU, and by default it's rendering 5,000 samples. So let's we can actually reduce that from the kernel. So there's a lot of options toggle inside Octane. I'm still getting used to this. Years ago, I actually studied Octane a little bit. So I think we can reduce this to maybe 100. Okay, so Suzanne with 3 different materials. The cool thing about Octane viewer here with the nodes is we can see there are 3 materials, okay, with different names plugged in, and there's also camera, and there's also Suzanne geometry, and we just connect it together and we have render target. Okay, so the material changed a bit from Blender into Octane, but we can hook them up again together very quickly later. So let's test this. The license says connected, and I have 4 weeks and 2 days, like 30 days to play around with this. So this is the material setting in Octane, and I'm setting up the materials as universal. There are many different materials. We also have tune, which is really interesting. I'm gonna show you a bit later. We have the usual things like transmissions, albedo, metallic. There's a roughness somewhere. Roughness, the electric, I think that's kind of like glass thing. I haven't tried everything, but I'm just gonna show you. This is the albedo. Of course, we can change the color and the texture material. I'm going to show you very quickly if I use Suzanne texture, like this one. Okay, that's a really rough texture, but that's okay, just for a demo. I can change this RGB color into RGB image. Just gonna drag and drop this there and open it up. Now we have Suzanne with simple texture. We can play around with the metallic. Where is it? The metallic is also being controlled by the roughness. So the roughness should have effects on it. Okay, this is the metallic control. Transmissions, I haven't tried this, but I think if I try with the noise on the transmission, should give like the inside of the objects, a little bit like glass with noise inside it. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't touch this for now. Let's try the different materials. So this is the hair. Give it like a black pink material. Metalness, specular highlight. So there's a lot. This material is especially have a lot of options. I try this transmissions once again with the marble. You can see that it has some effects on the hair, kind of like transparency effects. So let's save this very quickly. The background is currently just white color. Maybe I can just change this into something else. Okay, yeah, we can replace this with backplate or something. Okay, with texture environment we can replace it with HDR, of course, but I'll be using just planetary or daylight. Okay, I like daylight setting. With Octane, I think Octane X or other different Octane, we can easily select like daylight environment using there is kind of like a map with latitude and longitude. It's very similar to Blender, of course. If you use Blender and we have setting like HOSEC or other lights setup. So with Eevee, here I'm using sky texture. There we have pre-temp, HOSEC, and Nishita. Nishita is working for Cycles. It's very similar to Octane. Okay, we just have a daylight or maybe like a sunset. Here's the sunset. Okay, this is quite nice. We can control the sky color, sunset color, sun intensity, sky turbidity. But for now, I'm just happy with this. I'm gonna save this. So we can select the objects once again and go to material number 2, which is currently, I think it's glowing because somehow I have it here with emission. The sun might be, the lighting, environment lighting is probably a little bit strong. I'm gonna save this. Maybe just reduce the albedo to black color. and this guy is continuously rendering in the background. This is my, I think my computer memory. There's a limit. If my assets is much more complex than this, then I might hit the limit and I cannot render anymore. But the way it works with the rendering engine, of course, you don't always render locally. Locally it's just for testing. Sometimes you send it to render farm. So Octane, I think have some kind of schema behind it. If you want to just have like a 100 computer running the farm, things like that. Okay, I want to show you also with Octane X. Last night I was playing around with this, and we can have the side-by-side rendering, you know, like kind of like a 3D render in real time. Example. So that's kind of neat. You can also have like a baking camera that's also render in the background. I just tried last night. Let's see, we can have like a baking camera, and you can simply just plug this into the camera. So let's see if this is working. It's taking a while with the baking camera. Maybe I shouldn't use this for now. I want to show you that we can also use something. Okay, this is, I think, the result of baking camera that I just delete. I just want to try to show you one more thing with these assets. Let's copy and paste the assets, and then with this guy I want to change the material completely. Just turn it into toon, and we're just gonna have like something that's completely different. So this is the character as it is before. File save. I'm gonna replace this with a different material, the toon shader. So by default, toon shader is showing black, dark color only. That's because of the toon lights setting here. We need to replace it with something else, you know, like for example, this is using the camera light, kind of like a front facing, but we can use the toon light if we create a toon light over here, toon directional light, and I think I can simply just plug this together using group. So this is the geometry brought together, and then now we can use this toon light with directional light. Oh, okay, apparently I have some animation as well. This is actually coming from Blender, which is really quite nice. And if I'm not wrong, I'm using my iPhone to create the animations. Just the camera animations using an app called what is it called? I forgot. Virtual camera. Okay, so it has motion blur. Well, anyway, so let's focus on this for now. We have toon directional light now working with the hair. Maybe for the hair, let's save it very quickly. For the hair, for example, I have it like this, like a greenish color. I can pick the camera light, or actually tone light is better. Yeah. We can actually just unplug the camera for now, just using our own camera. Oh, I know what happened. Our camera has been replaced by the other camera. I forgot. No, it is baking camera. Let's get back our universal camera. All right. I'm actually just learning Octane X last night, so okay, let's get back to this. Suzanne Super Cyan. This is the tone shader of Octane X. It's actually really quite interesting. I haven't looked at it much, but as you can see, it's really fast. First of all, when dealing with tone shader, I usually play around with the outline first, the outline thickness. So we have that. We have opacity, smoothing. We have control here. Let's try the material for this part, the flower part. Okay, I think this is quite nice. Let's try with the skin. By the way, with Blender, you also have something like this using a different render engine. I think one of them is called Beer. This is for kind of for non-photorealistic render. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things with the render engine. Of course, you have the realistic one, like Cycles, Eevee, and then you have something like this that I like to try. This is the Toon render. Currently is using this environment. Okay, the background is no longer affecting our render. Still. Oh, we have also visible environment here that I can replace with a texture, I think. Anyway, go back to Suzanne. We have control over the skin, specularity. Let's try different color, specularity. Roughness. We also have things like bump, normal, and displacement. I haven't tried this. Let's try with the normal. For example, if for the normal, I just give noise. You can see here, there's a bit of kind of like groove underneath the objects. This is actually really nice. And just a different noise. This add to the character. We probably need to use our own normal for our characters, but there's a normal there. There's a bump. For the bump, maybe if we use turbulence. This is the bump, like a bump map. We are using the procedural texture. We can use OSL. Try marble. Oh, interesting. Doesn't like it. It doesn't seem to like this texture much. Let's delete it. Oh, what's going on? Okay. It's giving me this logo. Maybe something happens. I have a feeling it's something's happening with the render. Save this. Yeah, maybe I cannot use this too long time for now. I'm starting to give me this logo. Pretty weird. Anyhow, let's just keep going. We have control over the tune lighting. We have other control like tune diffuse ramp and tune specular ramp. Okay, let's try this. So I'm giving a ramp that's kind of overlay on top of the original diffuse and specular tune. By default, it says constant, but I can also turn it into linear or cubic. So this is kind of like another splash of gradient on top of the tune shader. So it gives a nicer, smooth gradations over our character if we want to. So overall, I do think Octane has a certain quality with the tune shader. I wish Blender have this by default. Actually, you can have it with a render engine like Beer, but yeah, it comes with Octane like this. So this is how far I've tried with Octane, and I have to look at it. There's actually so many things going on with Octane. I mean, with this app, and you can set it up using nodes, so you can have like OSL camera, all the cool stuff. This is for the environment. Okay, you can have Boolean. There's so many options and setting. So in reality, if you're learning this software or this app, there's a learning curve on top of Blender. And like I said, this is like it's gonna cost you like $50 or €50 or $50 or €40 per month, 480 per year. Something to consider, however, still. One cool thing, of course, like I said, this guy is using my GPU. This is my MacBook Pro. Is like 4 years old now, and it never really used the GPU when I use Blender, but today it's actually using the GPU. So 4 years passes, and finally in year 2021 it's using the GPU, but only if I use it with Octane X. So there's definitely something about it. And Octane X is running on the Mac. If I have like Mac Pro, this probably the rendering is going to be really fast as well. With a Mac Pro with M1 chip, it's going to be like real-time render or something. Alright, so that's pretty much what I want to talk about. This is a quick look into Octane X using these assets from Blender generated using geometry nodes. And yeah, I'm testing out the Toon shader and the PBR shader. So two things, and just the basic of Octane X. I think it's kind of nice to have this. There is a different way, different methods to use this. If to have like your DCC apps like Blender, Maya, Houdini, and then kind of having Octane server running inside the app. This is the standalone. Octane X is a standalone. Maybe at some point they will have it so we can have Blender and also have Octane running at the same time, and so we have the 3D assets rendering in real time. For now, I think this method is not too bad. As long as we can bake our animations, etc. Like this FBX, we can simply hook up the camera and also the shader, etc. What's really nice, of course, here with the material is that there's all sort of material here that's built in that you can play around. And yeah, somehow my render stopped working again. I might come back into looking into deeper into Octane X as long as I still have the license. I have 1 month to study this. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this BS Live. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.